Welcome back to We Still Like Each Other, the podcast. I'm Travis.
And I'm Stephanie.
And this is the podcast where we show that the honeymoon stage can last forever.
Forever and ever.
Or maybe it can, according to YouTube comments.
Yeah, so people was coming for us. So on YouTube, one of our videos went like mini viral. So we've been getting a lot of new subscribers and a lot of new followers, people checking in. And someone was like, no, the honeymoon stage cannot last forever. So I think it's time for us to clarify for new listeners, what does our catchphrase mean? What does we still like each other mean? What do we mean when we say that the honeymoon stage never has to end?
So that's one of on the bright side of getting a lot of, or maybe the negative side of getting a lot of new subscribers is that people aren't going back. So I even went back to episode 1 to see like, what were we talking about? And the main messaging was that when you get married, it could be at any stage. You could have been together for 20 years and then you decide to get married. People are just going to have some negative shit to say. Like the honeymoon stage is, oh, how long you been married? 6 months. Oh, give it some time. You'll stop having sex, so you'll stop liking them.
The pessimism is heavy when you first get married, from older couples, divorced people, single people. It's just like enjoy it now. It's like a little salty, like you sound jealous. It's negative energy pushed into the direction of a happy couple that's unnecessary. Does that mean that throughout the duration of your marriage, throughout the duration of any relationship, that there won't be any hiccups, that there won't be times where it doesn't feel like you're in a honeymoon? No, of course those things are going to happen, but that doesn't mean that on the grand scheme of things, that doesn't mean that majority of the time, that doesn't mean that you forget what made you fall in love and that you don't share that joy mostly every single day.
And I don't think, and I know for a fact our messaging isn't to fake it, right?
No.
But the messaging is that you control your happiness. So you have to actively work on your relationship to make sure that it's something that you're flourishing in and you're happy to be a part of.
And when you aren't, if you find yourself in a state that you're consistently unhappy, that you don't want to be around your partner, that you dread coming home, there's a problem. And you need to figure it out or get the fuck out. And I think we've kept it real about that.
Yeah. And it's not always sunshines and rainbows on this side.
Yeah, we've even started podcasts where we kind of just had a fight.
And those
quote unquote fight.
Those are minor. We've had big issues too.
Yeah.
And it's the reality of just like relationships in general, not just romantic. You know, you'll go through those things, and how you maneuver it, that's the big indicator on, the longevity of it. And it's not just romantic.
Yeah. And we also speak on not staying in a marriage just because you don't want a divorce, because it's socially acceptable. Stay in a marriage because you truly like your partner. Keyword like, because you can love someone deeply, but if you don't like that person, if you don't like being around that person, if you don't like who that person makes you, don't stay in the relationship.
And that's where the name was born. We
still like each other.
And some days it's hard to like you, but
damn.
But I'm actively working on getting back to the place that whatever took me out of that.
Let's fix it.
Exactly.
Let's address it.
I'm never gonna stop loving you. Ever. It's just impossible. There's nothing you can do right now at this moment. I'm always gonna be in love with you, but
do you still like me?
Exactly. And yeah, that's where the name comes from, and that's where the catchphrase comes from. Don't take it so literal.
And also, I feel like as this show has evolved, We Still Like Each Other has like a new meaning as well, because it shows us having healthy disagreements and kind of, pushing each other's perspective, yet we still like each other, even when we don't 100% agree on something. And it shows that you can have a difference in opinion and still like each other, but we do agree on the big, important things.
And if we don't initially, then we kind of work, like tell me why you feel this way, and let me understand why you're coming this from this angle, and vice versa, and then we meet in the middle. And sometimes it's not even meeting in the middle. Sometimes it's me just meeting on your end because I see it your way.
Or sometimes we agree that we not gonna agree, but it's okay as long as we respect each other.
And we've had so many conversations on here where I start feeling like, oh no, this is the way, and then Stephanie starts talking, and I'm like, oh, and I don't know if it looks like to y'all that maybe I'm backpedaling, but no, she genuinely convinced me of how I should be seeing an issue. And it's not always just me to appease her. Why would I just be combative just for the sake of being combative?
That's a lesson to everyone in changing your mind. There's this negative connotation with changing your mind, and it could be seen as like hypocrisy. But we grow, we learn, we have new information, and it's okay to change your perspective, to change your opinion. It's okay to say, I used to feel this way, but now I feel this way because I have new information. I've matured. I have different experiences to now view this topic on, this issue. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So you said it's not always easy to like me on some days. What are some things that make it hard for you to like me?
I'm not going there.
Why not?
It's not all the time. But
no, but you said there are some days that it's hard for me to like you. I want an example.
For the sake of the conversation that we were having.
So you were fronting?
Not that I'm fronting it. It's just not always, I don't know, it could be something minor, like that day you really didn't want to make me dinner. And
my God. Okay, let's talk about that.
And remember, I got a little annoyed with you.
He was like hangry, had a little attitude.
Yeah. And I might have liked you a little less in that moment. And then I had some food and I was back. And I think I told you that too.
But why didn't I want to make you dinner?
Because we had a bunch of leftovers.
And I knew what I wanted to eat. And there were so many options available that he could just prepare for himself. And I get in a lot of marriages, there are roles that people take on. I took on the cooking role just because I'm better at it. It just makes more sense. I also buy all the groceries. I keep the fridge stocked. But I've always expressed how important it is for me that some days I just want to eat something that I want to eat. And I make sure in the fridge there are things you can make for yourself. And you had an attitude. Like, you couldn't believe I had the audacity.
Because we have been on such a roll with meals being prepped and cooked.
Exactly why one day shouldn't have thrown you off the rails. I was like,
we're going to finish this week strong. And here comes...
He couldn't believe it. Like, I was in the kitchen preparing my stuff.
Just kidding.
And then he kept just looking at me like... I'm like, are you really mad? He's like, no. Mad, passive, aggressive. See the stupid shit he doesn't like me about?
I guess if that's like our biggest problem right now, we'll be okay.
And once he ate, he was over it. He was like, all right, baby, I'm back. He literally, I'm like, you see, so you were mad at me.
I was.
And other times I would have let it frustrate me. Like, why you have an attitude? Like, I can't believe like the one time I don't want to cook dinner, you're like acting like a dick. But I'm to the point that I was like, oh, well, that's his business.
You're going to be hungry.
I'm eating my food. You're going to be tight. And then he was over it. So sometimes you just got to give each other some space to be annoyed. And then you realize like...
Yeah, it wasn't that serious.
That was petty.
It was petty. And then on the flip side, you bring me so much peace, right? Mm-hmm. I was thinking about yesterday how we went to the car wash and I got annoyed. I was like really annoyed. Like I wasn't even in the moment. I remember Eli was like playing with the thing and I was just like, something's not right. Like I couldn't even enjoy the moment of
Wait,
Eli.
You were annoyed from then? Like
yeah,
from when
because I just wasn't feeling like anything was clear and what was happening. So I know people may laugh like you were mad, but so we pull up to the car wash and there's like 3 different plans and I picked like the platinum and it had a bunch of things like tires, under, whatever. So it goes through and I'm still feeling like weird about them not even doing anything to indicate that I'm getting that special.
So he feels like there were 3 different options, but everyone just got the same car wash no matter what.
So the car is done and I'm looking, I'm like, all right, they shined the tires, but I even went back and took a picture of the sign to see what I'm supposed to get. And I'm telling Stephanie, I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to know that
Even
they even
know
did this stuff?
that they washed under the car.
There's like supposed to be some rain protected thing. And I'm just like,
Seems
I
like
got. I definitely got. And Steph was like, now you know, just get the basic, maybe a little tire shine and keep it moving. Stop, don't be extra. And I was leaning into you, like, bring me back because
I'm so mad. And then the by our cup holder had like some stains they didn't wipe, and he was just pissed.
Yeah, I was just pissed. 'Cause I don't mind paying for anything as long as it's done right. And I just felt like everyone got the same thing.
I will say that Travis's piss is like so chill. He just gets like quiet and like in his own head. He doesn't like say anything. I'm like, you're okay?
Yeah, I need to. I sound like one of our viral clips. I need to work on that. Just not. I don't think I need to be like a vocal angry, but I do, especially if it's coming from someone. Like if you're the reason that I'm angry, maybe it's not always necessary to just swallow it. Tell you why.
But then sometimes I want to be like you. Like sometimes I'm like, I didn't have to say that. I could have dealt with being annoyed without making everyone else around me annoyed.
Yeah, I'm not.
Like I don't need to be a bitch about some shit, and now you're in a bad mood because I'm in a bad mood over something petty.
I'm not reactive at all. Like I'll take it in and weigh the pros and cons of acting out.
Yeah.
Like remember that time I got. Well, we've discussed this on the podcast, but I got angry at someone at work, and I called you.
Oh yeah.
And that's rare.
But it's like the only time and since we've ever met.
And I sat with it and I was like, nah, I gotta do something about that.
That was nuts. But yeah. So we were talking about our week. I wanted to talk about two different things. One of them.
Do you want my did you know?
No, it's weekly recap. We'll say the did you know. So in the weekly recap, we usually talk about things that happen, but this week we had a conversation that I was like, we need to talk about this on the podcast. And sometimes certain things will come up and we like won't talk about it because we're like, let's save it so we could be raw on the podcast. But this convo was kind of big and we kind of exchanged some ideas already.
Did you just make a joke?
What joke?
This conversation was big.
No.
Oh.
Oh my God. Y'all Travis is horrible. When y'all hear what we're going to talk about, y'all better come for him in the comments. I can't stand you.
I couldn't let you get that off.
Oh my God. So we were talking about Lizzo. Oh my God.
I love Lizzo.
So it was an important conversation. Yes. And it came up just because one of her songs right now that's doing amazing, About Damn Time or About Time, is doing really well. It's trending on TikTok. And
it's one of those songs that when you read the lyrics, it gets even better. Because
yes.
I personally, it was just like one of those things I've heard. And then I think yesterday or the day before you were playing it with the lyrics. I'm like, oh shit.
I tend to do that. If I like a song, I make sure I listen with the lyrics so I could really like get the understanding of the song. So I was like letting him hear the whole song because he had only heard really like the TikTok part.
And the TikTok part is like a small part of the song.
Yeah, it's a small part of the whole song. So I said, well, it's a much longer song and it doesn't have that whole vibe. It doesn't have the vibe of the TikTok throughout the whole song. So that's why I played it for him to hear it. But as I'm playing it, I'm like, this song is fucking fire. Like, it's really good. I like the lyrics. It's catchy. It puts you in like a feel-good mood. And then you mentioned how she's so talented. So then we went on this rabbit hole and I brought up how as a society, we're so fat phobic. And Travis and I are not excluded from that. Like we have fat phobic tendencies in the way we react to people who are considered bigger than average in the media, in movies, in TV shows, in print photography. And I really feel like it's something I need to actively unlearn. And I have over the years. But I feel like it's comparable to unlearning like homophobic tendencies. You know, it's so deeply ingrained in who we are and growing up. If you have like a family member that's a little overweight, everybody in the family is talking about it. People are judging what they eat, what they don't eat, what the parents feed them,
So
all this stuff.
I hear you, right?
Uh-huh.
But I guess I'll say, you compare it to like being homosexual.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's the same struggle.
But I was going to say, homosexuality isn't a choice.
And your body weight, a lot of it is genetic, is also not a choice.
But it's also, you can work out, you can eat healthier and lose weight. It's a fact.
Do you work out? Do you eat healthy?
No, but I guess you could say I'm fortunate or whatever.
So do you think if you were overweight, you suddenly have this drive and desire to just work out and eat healthier? Or you'll still have your same preferences in food and physical activity levels?
I think if I looked in the mirror and didn't like what I saw,
Mm-hmm.
I would work out and eat healthier. And in fact,
if you didn't like what you saw, but that's assuming that people who are quote unquote overweight don't
like what they see.
Don't like what they see and aren't happy with their body. We can't assume that.
Yeah, that's true.
So I mentioned how I remember Lizzo wore that see-through mesh dress with like nothing under. That was basically a replica of what Rihanna had wore.
I was just about to say that. Yeah.
The same exact thing. And when Rihanna wore it, everybody was like, woo, Rihanna, fashion icon. She's daring. Fuck out of here. Woman empowerment. I could show my nipples. I don't need to hide it. Like, and of course, there were some people who were like, all right, you're naked. Why? But when Lizzo did it, it was
like barf emoji.
And people just saying like, I get it. You love that you're fat. Like we're over it. Like, why do we need to see it? Like, all right, we get it. We get it. Body positivity, but like you're overdoing it. Why? Why is there such a different reaction to the same exact clothing?
So I think for people who are overweight or fat, however you want to describe it, there's a part of it that we view as unhealthy. Mm-hmm. So to see someone in that light who's like almost showing this unhealthy lifestyle as like, you can live this lifestyle and it's okay. But
see, that's where it bothers me, because I feel like that's how we justify being fat phobic, right? Because we could easily defend ourselves and our disgust by saying, but it's just not healthy, We promote rappers who's drinking lean, talking about popping pills. We don't talk about how unhealthy that is.
I think we do. There is a conversation.
Not in the same. There's a conversation, but it's not.
Listen, one of the biggest rappers in the world, Kendrick Lamar, his whole album is basically denouncing that lifestyle, like the gangsters, the drugs, and all that. So,
but it's the first time it's happening. When?
Not really.
So you're going to tell me
there's a conversation.
There's a conversation. I'm not denying that. Of course, there's a point of view. There's different point of views for every single topic. But I'm talking about which conversation takes up more space. People are using the health argument against Lizzo loving her own body way more than they do towards rappers drinking lean.
But you're also, it also sounds like you're saying Lizzo posts a picture of her, like, I don't know, in a sundress with a beautiful background, and people are like, you fat bitch.
Yeah.
No, it's Lizzo post a picture in basically naked, and then they're like, whoa, what's going on here?
But there's so many women who post basically naked all the time. Kim Kardashian's always half naked.
But do you see my difference? One is like clothed.
What do you mean?
So I think the issue only comes up for Lizzo is when she's trying to, or not when she tries, when she posts a picture like a Kim Kardashian, not when she posts a fully clothed picture.
It happens all the time.
So you just think she's wearing an outfit like yours and people are just body shaming her?
Yeah. People, all women, everybody on the internet is going to get body shamed, period. But we cannot say that Lizzo gets the same type of scrutiny as Kim Kardashian. Because people tell Kim, put some fucking clothes on. But people tell Lizzo to put clothes on because they're disgusted or they're not used to seeing people of her size love their body, show off their body?
It's tough because, you know me, I love a good joke.
Mm-hmm.
But I also can see that there's always like some underline of how someone really feels under a joke.
Mm-hmm.
So even me making, like, I do have my things about fat people.
Mm-hmm.
One of my biggest pet peeves.
What's your pet peeve?
Is when I see a fat person angry at like a fast food place or a restaurant.
Okay. I'm trying to see your angle here.
Because, well, no, I'm saying just to bring it back to, you know, you were saying how we view fat people,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm no better. Like you pointed out.
Yeah, like we all have our. So it bothers you when you see a fat person angry at a food place.
Yeah.
Why? I'm confused.
I don't know. I'm
like,
just like,
what are they angry about?
I don't know. Like, let's say their order got messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's fucked up because I would be angry if my order got messed up. But
Yeah.
for some reason, and I'm not saying any of this is right. I'm just telling you my own.
Fucked up. The way your mind is processing it.
And I'm like, you're fat and angry about food right now.
Mm. And you know what's crazy? I'm very particular. Not really particular about my food, but like if I go through drive-through and I leave and they forgot like my sauce or something, that shit pisses me off. But in your mind,
They need to eat that. I mean,
it's worse. Like if it's someone, like it's one of the ways fat phobia has manifested in regular everyday shit.
Have you ever been attracted to a man or woman who's on the heavier side?
Probably, to be honest, more women than men.
Same for me.
But I think I don't know. I think that's just my opportunities, not necessarily because I'm like, an overweight person. Because no, I don't think that's the case. I think just opportunity wise. I forgot where my train of thought was going when you brought up this fast food thing. I totally forgot what I was gonna say. But yes, it's fucked up. We need to change the way we look at it. Lizzo, speaking on health, she does whole concerts, dancing, singing, playing the flute, and we talking about her health. Could you do that?
I couldn't. I couldn't do one of those things.
Could I do that? No. So it's like, who are we to judge what's healthy for her, not healthy for her? Like promoting a lifestyle. No one. You can't. You're just living your life. You know. No one's promoting anything. It's not like even rappers, like bringing it back to the rap connection. We talk about the drugs. They're literally glamorizing drug use, like 100%. She's not saying gain 100 pounds, do this, be lazy on the couch. Like she's not promoting it. She's just embracing who she is and loving who she is. Like whatever. I brought this up to say that we have difficult conversations. We disagree. We push each other to be better people all around. So that's what we still like each other's about.
Yeah.
Not about being super happy 24/7.
And at the end of the day, just wrapping up is fat the right word?
I don't know, baby. Yes, fat. Fat what?
Fat people.
Okay.
Fat people conversation. I think it just matters if you're happy. If you aren't hurting anyone, including yourself, then live your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
that goes back to anything. Like if you aren't hurting others, if you aren't hurting yourself, live your life. You know, not doing anything illegal. Live your life. It bothers me. Like I hate when people make little comments about like, oh, like, all right, we get it, you're big. What? No one says that about any other artist who's just promoting themselves. Literally Instagram, social media, it's to promote yourself so you are relevant, your music is relevant. So every artist is doing that. But yet it's like annoying. It goes back even with Lil Nas X. It's like, we get it, you're gay. Like he can't just live his life. He's not saying you don't get it. He's not trying to prove himself to you. And I don't think Lizzo is either. I just remember, coincidentally, I noticed she had tweeted something about that people say, okay, Lizzo, to kind of like as a diss to other big women in the comment section. Like, okay, Lizzo, like trying to diss them by saying that. But she's like, that's a fucking compliment. I'm successful as fuck. I'm popping as shit. Like, why are you using my name as an insult? That's actually a compliment. It's true. And, you know, people would judge her for that. All right, let's move on. Sorry, we stood on that longer than I expected.
Well, on a positive note,
Yeah.
let's talk about the shirts we're wearing.
Oh.
Save
We are
Mankind.
wearing-
I know you've all seen me in this brand a bunch, but they have these shirts that dropped. I think by the time you all see this, they'll be about 24 hours?
Yeah. So the pre-sales open now, but it ends Monday at 12.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this after Monday at 12,
It's over. But
it's over. Monday, June 6th.
DM me. Maybe we could make something happen. Yeah, so it's their collab with Benedict Palmieri. It's a mental health
Awareness shirt. Yeah.
And it's for peace, love, and happiness.
And saving mankind.
If you all... Yeah, shout out to Save Mankind.
All right. You ready?
Yeah, let's get into the
Did you know?
Did you know? Did you know love at first sight really happens, not just for Stephanie?
We didn't do this one already?
No.
Okay.
Pretty sure we did.
All right. I don't know. It sounds like a conversation we might have had already.
A 2017 study reported by Psychology Today found that love at first sight isn't just a case of looking at the past with rose-colored glasses. Respondents did immediately report falling in love at first sight with potential partners, with men more likely to do so than women. Granted, those strong initial feelings don't encapsulate all of what romantic love is, but they can prompt a person to pursue something deeper.
Absolutely. Chemistry, that connection. I feel like the same is true for knowing right away you don't like someone. Yeah.
That's weird.
What?
Not liking someone right away. Like you don't even give them a chance.
I guess with not liking someone is not just sight. It also includes at least initial conversation. But I feel like I can tell early on if I'm not going to vibe with someone.
That's true. But like just initial.
Yeah, just looks, maybe not. Looks, but the same thing with falling in love at first sight. You could see someone and have that initial rush, but
then they start
just
to
as
talk.
quickly, if y'all start talking and its vibes are off, you got to dead it. And what happens is we're kind of blinded by falling in love at first sight that sometimes we ignore
the little red flags.
That this person isn't really compatible with you. Like we want to make it work because this person is just so fucking hot or whatever. But yeah, I believe it. And I've told you, I feel like I fell in love with you the minute I saw you.
I'm not going to cap and say that I was in love, but I was definitely I was focused on you. Whatever.
But you know how Travis is. Any emotion is like very stoic, I guess.
And I've probably said this before, but I will never just talk to a random girl. Mm-hmm. I'm not the type. I won't see a girl at the bar. I'll say maybe to a friend like, oh, wow, she is sexy or whatever. But I'm not walking up to her. I'm not buying her a drink. It's just not my personality. But if there's a reason for me to have a conversation with someone, then I'm all for it. And luckily, you were in the group of friends that we were there with. So I was like, oh, shit, not only is she beautiful, but she's here with my group of friends. So let's see what can happen. And I must have been sending that energy because when you needed help with the drunk guy.
Yeah, I saw you and I was like, ooh, look at that big head over there. He's cute.
And, the rest is history.
Yeah. I feel like I remember you just being mad, like quiet and like, I think maybe that's what I like. That you weren't like showboating. You weren't like, hey, what's up? Yeah, happy birthday. Da-da-da. You were just like very chill. And I think that's attractive to me. Like, I don't really want to be with the loudest guy in the room, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So this topic we're going to get into is loaded for me in a sense. And I didn't realize it was until I started really planning it a little bit more. So Travis and I are very open about sex, our sex life, the hiccups in it. Times it's been bad, times it's been good. But overall, I feel like our listeners know that we enjoy sex. We're both pretty active.
Giggity, giggity.
We're a couple that prioritizes sex in our relationship. I don't want to say every couple has to, but I do feel it can be a huge problem if you have two different sex drives and it's not addressed. You can have two separate sex drives and still have a successful relationship. But if you aren't addressing that and making it work and finding a common ground, it could be very dangerous. So this past week, we spoke about, the broken vagina and the couples who have sex 1 to twice a week, like that whole conversation. So I had a lot of people messaging us, commenting, talking about their sex lives. And I'm so grateful that people feel so open and comfortable and asking us for advice. And there was a trend: sex and time. When do you find the time? Y'all have kids. We have kids. We work. How do we find the time to have sex? And I instantly think about, if all of us right now, literally, if you're listening, check your phone for how much time you spend on your phone. How many hours of screen time do you spend a day?
Better yet, and this is going to fuck you up when you really think about it. Why the fuck are you watching us right now? And not having sex?
No. Okay. Don't take it too far.
Yeah, watch us first.
Because, you got to get the tea, the juice, the tips. But it's not really time.
Yeah.
Time is not really the issue. So what do you think the issue is, babe?
Not prioritizing it. I feel like people don't view it to be important.
Okay. Something I've noticed in my conversations with people is that initial initiation stage. There's like this sort of awkwardness in that phase.
I still get nervous. Like when I want to have sex and I'm not sure if you want to have sex, I still get nervous. Like we haven't had sex a million times. So yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, like to this day, there's this like awkwardness in that feeling, in that phase.
And I think there's also a sense of rejection. I mean, a fear of rejection.
Uh-huh.
Because if I'm in the mood and I'm ready to go, and then I come on to you or try and initiate something to get you there, and you're just not really in the mood, that no, it's like, it's like a gut check.
Yeah. So one thing I noticed in my conversations is that one partner will say, I don't know, I'm just not usually in the mood. Like, I'm just not in the mood. Then my follow-up question always is, when you do have sex, do you enjoy it? Because I would never, ever, ever want to promote people pushing themselves to have sex that they don't enjoy, that they don't like. Like, if you don't like sex, that's a whole different issue that I can't really help with. I'm not a sex therapist in the sense. But if you like sex, but initiating the sex, actually finding the time to do it, actually prioritizing it, getting it done, that's something that I feel like is an easier fix.
Yeah.
And the reason I said it was loaded for me is because we had a conversation earlier this week, Travis, about me being present.
Okay.
So I know you're always like, shit, you're putting me on the spot. I have been struggling with wanting the next best thing or wanting to finish things in the house. Like, okay, we moved everything in. I need 2 bookcases. I need Eli River's play area complete. I need a new computer. I need.
Can't stop, won't stop.
And Travis literally sat me down and said, I mean this in the best way possible, but when is it ever going to be enough? Look at where we are. Look at what we have. If every second is just what's next, it's never going to be enough. I could say, yes, order all these things you feel you need to complete the house. You're going to want something else. Be present.
Damn. I said all that? No, I really did.
You really
I
did.
really did. But yeah, it because you know how I am with you. I cater to you and I want you to be happy. So when you'll send me a text at work like, hey, the Amazon cart is full. And you like send like an emoji like, so I'll look at it. It's all reasonable stuff for the baby, whatever. And I'll get it. But then when I start to see that things like maybe bigger items like furniture pieces are really stressing you out, that the fact is like, well, we can't do it right this minute. Let's see what the financial situation is looking like. It kind of brings you down or has you stressing about money, but we literally have everything we need to function as a family, our day to day, even doing this podcast. Like, obviously there's things I want.
Yeah.
Everyone knows we record on an iPhone. If you don't know, mind blown, but we record off an iPhone. Of course I want a legit camera. Of course I want to, well, I don't want to give that away right now, but there's so much I want to do, but I don't need any of this stuff. And when I really take a second and look at what we've accomplished, where we are, what we've provided for our family, I want you to feel how I'm feeling, because I love what we've done. I love where we are right now, especially when we take 5 minutes to watch the news of everything going on in the city. It's like, fuck, babe, like we really are out of the mayhem right now. So I want you to feel how I feel. And I think when we had that conversation, it wasn't to be like mean or anything like that. Yeah. I just, it was coming from a loving place. It's still coming from a loving place. I just don't want you chasing things that it's like short-lived satisfaction.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like the reason it gets in my head is it's not like we don't have enough, but knowing like I start to calculate like when I had a job, when I had a salary, like these are things that I would have been able to take care of, but it doesn't matter. No amount of money is going to fix the issue we were facing. It's all about not being present, right? So I could have still had my job and bought all of those things and then still found something else to feel unfulfilled by, right? So the issue is being present. So when I bring that back to the conversation about sex and finding time and finding opportunities and making that initiation stage less awkward, is being present. It's going to feel uncomfortable initiating sex if your mind is in a million other places. If you're focusing on what's next, what's missing, what's tomorrow, sex is going to feel like the last thing on your mind, the last priority, the last thing you have to worry about. My life sucks in XYZ. Sex isn't going to fix it right now. You're not going to feel like the desire to have sex.
So what would be your argument to people who say it's not a necessity for a happy relationship?
You got to be with someone who agrees with you. I think there's happy couples who don't have a lot of sex. That's fine. But if in your relationship, there's a partner who feels unfulfilled, or even you, if you like sex and you enjoy it, it makes you feel good. Once you orgasm, you're like, oh, why haven't I wish we had sex more often. Like, even if we have a busy week and then it's been a few days and we have sex, it's like, oh my God, why do we put this off? Like, why? It feels good. So if you enjoy sex and you like it, I think one way to have more sex is to be present. Enjoy the moment. Because if you're in the moment, it makes those little opportunities for sex more possible, right? Like, there was one day we had like quick laundry room sex. And if I was in my head about everything we had to do that day and not just like, let's have a quickie in the bathroom, in the laundry room, we wouldn't have done it. Like, it's just being present in that moment, saying, let's just do it. Like, fuck everything else. Let's get it done. And then the rest of the day is happier as hell.
Yeah. It's honestly like the best setup for a successful day, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It sets the precedent. I know if there's ever been like a night before I go to work or the morning of work, if you ever see me like working really hard at work, just know I got the cheeks, because it just sets me up for success. And I don't think there's a man or a woman out there who will deny that it's just an overall mood booster, unless it's just terrible or whatever. But that's another conversation.
Yeah. Another thing I was going to talk about with that is accepting your body smells, your body hair, because I feel like another reason sex becomes such a chore is that people feel like they have to be completely hairless on their genitals. They have to be completely clean, fresh out the shower to have sex. They have to immediately shower right after sex. Like there's this whole checklist of things. So we say, okay, really good sex could be 5 to 10 minutes, right? So you're like, oh yeah, I could do 5 to 10 minutes, but I need to get ready and I need to like clean up immediately after. So 5 to 10 minutes of sex turns into like an hour of my day, which honestly could be harder to find for people. Stop worrying about that shit.
Y'all know me. If y'all been watching since day one, I'm all about the extra seasoning.
And I get that as women, we have to be a little bit more careful with our bodies and making sure we don't get infections. Keep a wipe. Pee after sex so you clean your urethra. Sometimes, honestly, I feel like it's kind of sexy if we had sex and I didn't like shower it off, but I could kind of still smell you and us, like, and I'm just like doing chores around the house and I could still like literally have the scent of it. Like, it's kind of hot.
I'm getting turned on right now.
So I think we need to take some of the mental stress away from sex. It doesn't have to be this big ordeal. And it's harder when you're in a newer relationship, but have those conversations. Watch this video with your partner if you need to, but it's not.
Why do you say it's harder in a newer relationship? I would think you'd be doing it like, teenagers.
But in terms of feeling like you have to be super clean, super,
okay.
No hair, like you got to be ready. Like sex is this whole thing you got to plan into your day. And
you're still holding up the facade.
Yes, don't. Like, whatever. Lingerie is a fucking scam. But
I think you wore lingerie for me like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
In our years of being together.
Honestly, it's because I'm cheap. Because I feel like you take it off so quick, I don't ever get my money's worth.
I like that one with the opening on the crotch because you kept it on.
Yes, you keep it on. Those are good. And I feel like I want to do like a lingerie like photo shoot. So it feels like, okay, now I bought this lingerie. I have the photos. Like, I need to do that.
What was that? Was it Valentine's Day that day I came home from work and you had all the
like the balloons and the pictures?
And the things for me, like, it was like, if you pull this off, different things you'll do.
Okay.
Was it Valentine's
I think
Day?
it was Valentine's Day.
That was nice. I had nothing to add to the conversation, but it's a nice thought.
So yeah, over the top planned sex, it's okay to do once in a while. Valentine's Day, birthdays, or you had a hard week and you want to be extra special, but
that reminds me of a meme or a joke where it's like, you really just gonna give him that same old sex for his birthday.
Yeah, so spice it up. So it's a gift. But yeah, it doesn't have to be that. So I guess my just the tip is early, but say yes to quickies. Be present so that when one partner is initiating sex, you're in the moment and it's easier to get into that zone. If you like sex. If the issue is I don't like it, like even when I'm having sex, I'm like, why did I do this? You don't orgasm. That's different. There are people who just are asexual. That's a whole different situation. So I can't speak to that. But if you like sex and you're just finding excuses and saying you don't have the time and I have kids, like the kids go to bed. I get you need rest, but a few extra minutes out of your sleep, I promise you the benefits of like coming is probably better than the 20 minutes of sleep that you lose.
That's a bar.
It outweighs that shit.
Dead ass.
Right? Yeah.
And it could be one of those nights where I only have like 3 hours of sleep. Mm-hmm. And you're like, hey. I'm like, let's go. Fuck this sleep.
Yeah. And sometimes no. Sometimes this doesn't mean you can never say no to sex. That's unrealistic. Like, I still turn Travis down sometimes. But I make sure, not that I'm perfect at it, but I'm trying to be more present. Am I saying no because I genuinely am not interested, I'm not in the mood, I don't want to? Or is it because I've gotten myself so busy, so worked up that I can't even do something that I mutually enjoy? Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
I think we could start wrapping it up. I think that was good.
Okay. We're wrapping it up.
You want to add something?
Have sex.
Join us on Patreon. Even if you do not have the time to watch more content, we do have a $3 donation based tier that if you love what we do just on YouTube, on the podcast app, it really helps us. It'll help Travis get that camera that he wants. We want to build our new studio in the basement.
Oh, we're giving that out? That was what I stopped myself from saying.
Oh, I guess, yeah. So if you notice, our last setup in our last apartment was much nicer than this. I feel visually it looked better.
Yeah, we were looking at old videos yesterday and we're like, yeah, that looked better.
Yeah, it looked better. It had more us, more personality. Like, this is like we just moved into a house that had a fireplace and we don't have any, it's not really us. So I'm so looking forward to actually having a studio that represents who we are.
Yeah, so we have, I guess we'll give the scoop, but we have an unfinished basement and the plan is to build a studio down there. And we see the vision. It's just executing.
Yeah.
We are going to attempt to DIY it.
Yeah.
And we'll see where it goes.
So if any of our listeners wants to help us, knows how to maybe build a wall, paint some brick so it doesn't get mold on it. What else we need? Lighting. Like, we have like one light. So any electrician friends that want to help us out,
slide in our DMs.
Slide in. Yeah, but those donations do help us with that. We haven't touched any of our Patreon money because we're hoping it adds up to enough to buy a camera or do those things. We're using it 100% to put back into the podcast. So if you love what we do, that'll be very helpful. A little token of your appreciation.
Baby.
Daddy.
Do you still like me?
I still like you.
Want to have sex?
Not right now. I want to go get ice cream.
And I understand that.
Peace.
Peace.